Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Netflix just pulled in over $5 billion in pure profit for a single quarter. So why is Wall Street suddenly treating them like a company in crisis? Good morning and welcome to Connecting the Dots, broadcasting live from Snarful Solutions Group right here in Sacramento, California. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan. We are, so thrilled to have you sitting here in the studio with us this morning.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So today is Friday, April 17th, 2026. And before we tackle the pretty massive turbulence over in the streaming world, let's get you caught up on what's happening outside your window.
Definitely the best place to start the day.
Right. So if you're waking up with us here in Sacramento, you really couldn't ask for a better start to the weekend. It is a beautiful sunny day, currently sitting at 73 degrees with just a light breeze of 2 to 12 miles per hour.
But if you're traveling, you need to pay close attention, right?
Oh, absolutely. Nationally, things are looking a bit chaotic. There are currently 468 active U.S. weather alerts right now. Yeah, and 274 of those are specifically overland. So please check weather.gov if you're catching a flight or hitting the highway later today.
Yeah, better safe than sorry when the national map is lighting up like that. Moving over to the financial side, traditional markets had a relatively calm Thursday.
Okay, good to hear.
Looking at Thursday's close, the Dow Jones edged up slightly by 20.90 points to close at 48,578.722.
Nice little modest climb there.
Right. And the S&P 500 also saw a minor bump of 3.50, closing at 7,041.28. But the real volatility, the real action we're seeing this morning is over in the crypto space.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin is making major moves this Friday morning. It jumped over $1,800 to reach 76,968.64.
Wow, that is a significant leap to wake up to. Oh, and for the sports fans out there, a quick recap of yesterday's diamond action. The Giants shut out the Reds 3-0 yesterday. Landon Roop taking the win there.
Nice.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the A's had a much tougher time falling to the Rangers 6-9. And for the local crowd, you didn't miss anything on the hardwood because there was no Kings game last night.
Which is great because it frees us up to focus all our attention on the structural earthquakes happening at the world's biggest streaming platform.
Exactly. The streaming wars are entering this completely unprecedented phase, and the collateral damage, or maybe the collateral benefit, is coming straight to the screens in your living room. Let's unpack this.
Today's episode is brought to you by Strong Coffee, the premium instant coffee that tastes like a traditional brew, but is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. Get clean, sustained energy without the jitters. Use promo code SNARFL for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com.
So we really need to dissect what is happening at Netflix right now because, on the surface, their Q1 earnings report looks like a total masterclass in corporate dominance.
Totally. The numbers are just wild.
Right. To put this in perspective, they just pulled in $12.3 billion in revenue this quarter. That is a 16.2% increase year over year.
That's huge.
Yeah, they're sitting on an operating income of almost $4 billion, and their pure net income is $5.28 billion. They didn't just meet estimates, they completely crushed them.
Right, and by any historical metric, generating over $5 billion in pure profit in 3 months is a wildly successful quarter.
Exactly. And yet, the closing bell rings, after-hours trading begins, and their stock takes an absolute nosedive.
Dropping around 9%, right?
Yeah. That is billions of dollars in market cap wiped out instantly. So if a company is basically a money printing machine, what is the mechanism causing Wall Street to punish them so severely?
Well, because Wall Street is fundamentally an expectations game. They rarely reward you for what you just accomplished. They grade you entirely on what you're about to do.
Okay, that makes sense.
And Netflix's internal forecast for Q2 just threw a massive wet blanket over those Q1 profits. They're projecting their earnings per share, their EPS, to drop down to 78 cents.
Wait, 78 cents when they just hit 1.23 in Q1?
Exactly.
Right.
That is a jarring sequential drop. So the market looks at that and sees a growth engine that's, sputtering.
Yeah, but I'd argue there's a much larger shadow looming over these numbers than just a soft Q2 forecast. We have to talk about the ghost of the mega merger that wasn't.
Yeah. The Warner Bros. Discovery deal.
Right. It's impossible to look at the stock drop in a vacuum without acknowledging their failed attempt to acquire WBD. Everyone in the industry was watching that battle play out. And then in February, Rival Paramount swooped in, outbid everyone, and bought WBD for $110 billion.
It was literally the acquisition of the decade. And Netflix's official PR response in their shareholder letter was fascinating to read.
Fascinating is one word for it.
Yeah, they essentially stated that the price simply wasn't right, and that Warner Bros. Was never a must-buy for their catalog.
I really have to push back on that corporate framing. Let me give you a real estate analogy. Netflix looks exactly like a wealthy buyer who spent months eyeing a sprawling historic mansion, right? The Warner Bros. Catalog is legendary. It has HBO, Batman, Harry Potter. Then a neighbor outbids them, pays $110 billion for the property, and Netflix walks away kicking the dirt saying, well, we never really wanted it anyway, the price just wasn't right.
You think it's just sour grapes?
It feels like total PR spin to soothe investors after raising prices on families. Are they really okay missing out on that catalog?
It's definitely a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
But let's extend that real estate analogy to understand why the stock dropped. By failing to buy that historic mansion, Netflix now has to build their own sprawling estate from scratch, brick by brick.
Right, which means funding their own content creation entirely in-house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is why they have budgeted a staggering $16.5 billion for content creation in 2025 alone. Building IP from the ground up is incredibly expensive and risky.
Yeah, it is.
So the stock market looks at the missed deal, looks at that massive content budget, looks at the soft Q2 forecast and thinks, we aren't convinced you can sustain this momentum without a major acquisition.
And let's connect that directly to your wallet as a listener. They are feeling that financial pressure and passing it right on to you. They just hiked prices on subscribers again.
Right. The ad tier is now $8.99. The standard is $19.99. And the premium tier is a whopping $26.99.
That is nearly $30 a month for a streaming service. The consumer expectation for fresh, blockbuster content goes through the roof at that price. Warner Bros. Would have justified that price hike instantly.
Totally.
Without it, the pressure on Netflix's internal studios to produce constant hits is immense.
Which brings us to the human element of all this corporate maneuvering. Because, when a company is dealing with a failed $110 billion mega merger, a sudden 9% stock dip, and mounting consumer pressure over price hikes, how does the board usually respond?
With a leadership shakeup.
Exactly. But this isn't just a routine executive shuffle. We are witnessing the end of an era.
We really are. Co-founder and chairman Reed Hastings is officially stepping off the board when his term expires this June. This transition leaves the co-CEOs, Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters, entirely in charge of the company's future.
I mean, we are talking about a visionary who has been at the helm for nearly 30 years.
Yeah, he literally trained the global population on how to consume on-demand video, taking everyone from mailing DVDs and little red envelopes to a global streaming titan with 325 million paid subscribers as of January 2026.
His legacy in tech is undeniable. But his stated reasons for leaving are, classic Silicon Valley billionaire fare. He claims he wants to focus on his philanthropy, his $100 million education fund, and a Utah ski resort he recently acquired called Powder Mountain.
Okay, now, to be fair to the official record, Ted Sarandos explicitly denied the rumors that Hastings' exit was somehow tied to the failed Warner Bros. Bid. He went out of his way to say the exit has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Which is the exact textbook response a co-CEO is legally and strategically required to give on an earnings call to prevent a total investor panic.
Right. I mean, let's apply some common sense here. I have to be the voice of the skeptical listener. A month after Netflix loses a historic $110 billion bidding war to Paramount, the visionary founder who's been there 25 years suddenly decides, you know what? I'm going to step away entirely and go focus on my ski resort.
It is quite the pivot.
I hear Sarandos denying the connection, but the timing is awfully convenient. I mean, can a founder of this magnitude ever truly just step away peacefully?
Historically speaking, it is incredibly rare for a founder of his scale to ride off into the sunset without some underlying friction. Especially during a painful strategic pivot, a founder's DNA is fundamentally intertwined with the company's risk tolerance.
Right.
Look at how Hastings reflected on his tenure. He noted his all-time favorite memory was January 2016 when they launched globally in 130 countries. He said his real contribution wasn't a single business decision, but a focus on member joy.
Member joy! Wow, that is a brilliant piece of corporate poetry.
It sounds great. But let's analyze the mechanics of member joy. It is a lot easier to prioritize member joy when you're a high-growth disruptor, offering a cheap, ad-free alternative to bloated cable packages.
Oh, absolutely.
It is infinitely harder to maintain that joy when you're charging $26.99 a month, cracking down aggressively on password sharing, and answering to a board demanding higher profit margins every single quarter.
So you think he's leaving because the culture's changing?
Well, Hastings stepping down removes the last barrier to strategies he might have resisted. He might genuinely want to focus on Powder Mountain, but leaving right as the company shifts from a culture of innovation to a culture of extraction, the timing speaks volumes.
That brings up the most crucial question for you, the listener. With the founder gone and no massive new catalog of Warner Bros. Content to rely on, how does this new leadership duo plan to hit their future revenue goals?
They do it by fundamentally altering the psychology of how you use their app, and by pivoting heavily into aggressive advertising.
Yes, let's talk about this pivot. The scale is massive. Netflix's ad revenue is projected to double, hitting $3 billion by the end of 2026.
$3 billion. That is not a side project anymore.
Not at all. They are now working with over 4,000 different advertisers, which is a 70% jump year over year.
Right, the data they released backs this up completely. A staggering 60% of all new subscriber signups are actively choosing the $8.99 ad-supported tier. And Netflix stated in their shareholder letter that the ad tier actually helps lower churn, meaning people are less likely to cancel.
Wait, how does forcing people to watch commercials result in them staying subscribed longer?
It comes down to the behavioral economics of subscription fatigue. When a consumer is paying $26.99 for a premium ad-free experience, they audit that expense every single month. They look at their credit card statement and ask, did I watch $27 worth of TV this month?
And if the answer is no, they cancel.
Exactly. But an $8.99 charge, that becomes an invisible utility bill. It's cheap enough that you simply leave it on autopay and forget about it. Netflix actually wants that tier to become background noise.
That makes perfect financial sense. But the irony of this situation cannot be overstated. Think back to 10 years ago. We originally paid for Netflix specifically to escape the tyranny of commercials.
Right, they were the anti-cable.
They disrupted the industry by promising an uninterrupted narrative experience. Now, they're rebuilding the exact cable infrastructure they destroyed, but with much more invasive tools. I mean, for instance, they're launching a major integration with Amazon DSP.
Yes, this is a critical technological shift.
Yeah.
They're tapping into Amazon's demand-side platform, its DSP. Let's break down how that mechanism works.
So if I'm sitting on my couch watching a show, what does an integration with Amazon's DSP actually mean for my viewing experience?
Think of a DSP as a high-speed, automated auction house for your eyeballs that talks directly to your Amazon shopping cart. Historically, retail data and television advertising were separated by a massive firewall. A TV network didn't know what you bought at the grocery store.
Right.
But with this integration, Netflix will be able to target ads to you using Amazon's incredibly deep behavioral shopping data. If you spend Tuesday morning browsing for camping gear on Amazon, that data handshake happens behind closed doors, and by Tuesday night, Netflix is serving you highly specific advertisements for tents right in the middle of Stranger Things.
Wow, so they are literally weaponizing our shopping habits to serve better ads.
Exactly.
But to serve you more of those ads, they logically need you spending a lot more time inside their app. And that brings us to the most controversial part of their new strategy. The major app redesign launching at the end of April.
Yes, the complete TikTokification of the Netflix interface. They are launching a redesigned mobile app that features a scrollable, vertical video discovery feed.
Wait, so this means that instead of opening the app and browsing horizontal tiles of static movie posters, you will be swiping up on your phone through an endless stream of short, vertical clips and individual scenes.
That's right. And they're utilizing advanced generative AI tools behind the scenes to power this feed. But it's important to understand how this AI differs from their old recommendation engine.
How so?
The old algorithm used collaborative filtering. If you watched a sci-fi movie, it recommended another sci-fi movie based on what similar users liked. This new generative AI operates on a much deeper microscopic level. It analyzes the deep metadata of the actual video files.
So it's not just looking at the genre anymore.
Exactly the opposite. It tags the color palette, the pacing of the camera cuts, the decibel level of the dialogue, and the emotional arc of a specific 10-second clip. It learns that you, personally, tend to stop scrolling when you see high-contrast lighting and fast-paced action.
That is terrifyingly specific.
It is. It weaponizes that data to feed you the perfect vertical clip, designed specifically to trigger a dopamine response and keep you locked into the app.
I really have to question the long-term cultural impact of this redesign. If the algorithm is optimized to keep us swiping through endless 10-second highlight reels, Are we reaching a point where the 2-hour movie format dies? Are we just going to sit on the train, endlessly scrolling vertical trailers on our phones without ever actually committing to a full narrative arc?
It's a valid fear, but you have to look at it through Netflix's survival lens. They are noticing that the behavior lines between traditional TV entertainment and mobile device usage are completely blurring. They see the phone as a primary consumption device now.
I mean, I guess vertical scrolling is the dominant physical muscle memory for most people today.
Right. TikTok and Instagram Reels have literally reprogrammed how we interface with screens. Netflix is simply adapting to that neurological reality.
And the data in their report proves why they feel this is a life or death pivot. Because despite their massive cultural footprint and the $16.5 billion they spend on content, Netflix claims they still only account for about 5% of global TV view share.
When you consider how culturally dominant Netflix feels, that 5% statistic is absolutely wild. But it perfectly illustrates why they feel the need to alter their DNA so aggressively. They look at that number and realize they haven't won the war at all.
They view the other 95% of human screen time as uncolonized territory.
Exactly.
Before we wrap up, a quick thanks to Old Glory, an iconic music and sports fan merch store. Perfect for the techie in your life. Use promo code SNARFL for 15% off at oldglory.com.
So if we look at the connective thread running through all these updates, what we're witnessing is Netflix entering a completely new, incredibly ruthless era of their corporate life cycle.
They absolutely are. They are still making billions of dollars in pure profit, yes. But their foundational leader is out the door. Their attempt to secure their future with a massive Warner Bros. Mega merger failed entirely. And to ensure they keep growing, they're relying on aggressive ads and a TikTok-style, vertical scrolling mobile experience to keep you hooked.
It leaves you with a really profound question to ponder as a consumer. They openly admitted they still only command 5% of the global TV view share. If their primary growth strategy now relies on pushing us toward vertical scrollable video feeds on our cell phones, is their biggest competitor even Disney or Paramount anymore?
Right. Or are they quietly admitting that their real competition, the entities they actually fear, are the social media apps that are already dominating our daily screen time?
It fundamentally changes how you view the app on your home screen. It really makes you wonder who they are actually trying to beat for your attention.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.